help you understand this. Okay, Quebec sovereigntists, so these are the people that are for separation. In Quebec, they're watching the Alberta referendum. This is the vote on Alberta separating.
What did you just say?
With optimism and disdain, so mixed reviews.
Wait, I know this guy. Is his name is it Paul St. Pierre? What's the last name?
You're reading it off the page. You're so full of it. It stinks over there. Okay, Montreal, as Alberta flirts with the possibility of a referendum on separation, meaning a vote
What a little tease.
on separation. Quebec sovereigntists are watching with interest and a healthy dose of skepticism. They don't think it's going to happen.
You just like suffocated Jesse. Shut up.
Some are hoping that the wave of separatist sentiment or feeling in Alberta will put wind in the sails of Quebec's own independence movement, meaning it will revive. Some Quebecers are hoping that the talks of separation in Alberta will grow the idea of separation in Quebec. The separatist movement took a blow in the recent federal election that we just finished having in April, where Liberals made big gains in the province of Quebec at the expense of the sovereigntists, the Bloc Québécois. Remember, we've said that the Bloc want to separate.
Yeah, which we didn't expect the Liberals to get more, right? Because Carney wasn't fluent in French. Wasn't that like a
They really, remember we talked about that. They're focusing on French, and they were specifically targeting people in Quebec. And because of that, the Liberals did well, or did better in Quebec. To the loss of the Quebecois. The Quebecois lost seats. Yes. They lost seats. So actually, the separatist movement in Quebec is even weaker than it has been before. So they're hoping, well, yeah, that's a good.
I'm thinking the Green Party should do this.
You know what's interesting that you say that too, but so then the Conservatives should consider as well another leader. When you lose, don't you reconsider a leader?
Yeah, but you gotta also counter in the fact that it was a minority and it was super close.
They did, but he also lost his own.
Yeah. With Quebec
Didn't
going
they already
down so
reconsider?
much from what it was.
Didn't they already reconsider?
What's that?
Aren't they already reconsidering?
They're not reconsidering long term. They have to appoint a temporary leader of the Conservative Party. It's Andrew Scheer. Yes, this is good that you know these things. Because Pierre can't be in the House of Commons. He can't speak in the House of Commons. He lost his right. He is not an elected MP anymore at the time.
Yeah, I think Green should too because they lost half their seats.
Yes, they lost half their seats. A total of 1 seat. Yes. Okay. But others see Alberta's brand of separatism grown out of the frustration with federal Liberal policies. This is the only reason why. This is the only reason that I guess you could put this. The only reason for AB separatism talks is specifically because they are tired of federal Liberal policies, Liberal-led government. If the Conservatives had won this election, Alberta wouldn't be talking about separatism because a federal Conservative Party would probably open pipelines, right?
None of it would have been.
What? I think you made a pun on the province, the territory of none of it.
No, I'm saying I think none of it would have because
Would have what?
tried to separate.
None of it would have separated?
Yeah,
Where are they gonna go?
They would have went with Denmark.
No, they're landlocked here. Can we just stay to our topic here? But Alberta has a different brand of separatism than Quebec did. In Quebec, they have a nation, they have a language, a culture, a distinct history. So Quebec separatism is based on a difference of people.
Who goes?
The source of Quebec separating is based on people. Thank you.
Problem solved.
Go for a croissant.
You should go get one.
Alberta's separatism is based on finances.
Stop.
She sometimes does have, I struggle. Summer sausages. I had trouble with that
I think she's
recently.
got a wish.
I don't know why, but leave me alone.
Guys.
At least you don't have a list.
This is significant. You could put a star there. You could comment on that. Right? Quebec has a difference of culture and people.
Try.
Okay, so Robin will be listening to this recording, and if you're listening to it, they're being really mean to me right now, Robin.
They're being what do you mean?
They are.
Can you please just consider?
So there is a difference between why Quebec wants to separate, because they are a difference of culture and people. They are French, they are Catholic, they have a different legal system, right? Alberta doesn't have that difference of people. Alberta is only discontent because of who has led federal government lately. So they're not common. Their reasons for separation are not the same. I would put a star there because that's a significant comment that you could make a comment about. So last week, Alberta, actually, I don't know if you guys have heard, they're calling her Danielle Sith.
Daniel shit?
Sith, as in Darth Vader. Right? Darth Vader.
You don't know what
The
Star Wars is.
good guys, bad guys. The bad guys are Siths.
Okay, well Matthew's a nerd. He knows Star Wars.
Star Wars is
Anyway.
Am I the only person that doesn't know Star Wars?
Well, I know Star
I don't know
Wars.
Star Wars, but I know Sith is the bad guy.
played Star Wars on my Xbox last night.
Matthew?
No, Star
I
Wars.
did actually play Star Wars.
No, but now you're making fun of me. I appreciate it.
Stop
Good
abusing this
observation,
idea.
Marcy.
Quit bullying her.
Last week, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith put forward, tabled means she put forward
Even did
Strawberry.
She even did it that time.
Done. We're done.
legislation that would lower the bar for a citizen petition to trigger a referendum. It makes it easier. She lowered it to 177 signatures. So she has lowered the bar. She insists she does not, so this, I would put a star here. She has said many times she does not support Alberta separation, but she has just made it easier for Alberta to separate. And she said she will hold a referendum, which is a citizen vote, right? Next year, if the petition gets to the 177,000 thresholds, she says she will respect the outcomes.
She shells by the seashore.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, that one's okay.
It's okay, Marcy.
Oh shit.
I feel like pausing the recording and saying inappropriate things, but I will
Please do.
not.
Please do. Please do. Please do. Please do.
Let's just say I did, and we're moving on.
What word did you say?
Uh,
The N word. She would say
no, she wouldn't say that word.
I would.
Paul St. Pierre Plamondon, who is leader of the Sovereigntist Party Quebecois, has applauded Smith for defending Alberta's interests. Earlier this week, he drew parallel means comparison, between the two provinces, saying that they both want self-determination, meaning that they direct their own course.
Can we just assassinate this girl? Not you, like Danielle Smith.
Daniel
Oh.
Shesh?
Don't talk like that. We don't want to talk like that. In the face of what they consider abuses of power by the federal government. It's just control by a liberal government. He is not alone in sensing an opportunity, okay? Frederic Lapointe, who's president of the movement National de Quebecois, said the debate in Alberta could help normalize the idea of separation. So it wasn't just one province, so you could say before, one province considered.
So this means I'd like have to get like a separate or a passport. Or how?
It would be all of those things. It would be like entering a new country.
Yeah.
You'd have to get a visa. They'd have to create a trade agreement between themselves, the rest of Canada, themselves in
I
America.
have to get a visa to just go visit my auntie right here.
No.
Yes, you would.
Oh.
Yeah, because it would be like crossing the American border or Mexico or something
Wait,
like
so
that.
if I go to Mexico, I have to get a visa?
Pardon?
So if I go to Mexico, I have to get a visa.
If you plan on not just if it's not just a trip for vacation, yeah, like a work visa, or if you'd stay for a period of time. So before, when it was one province, you know, when we think separation, it's a crazy idea. But when you have two provinces, maybe it's not a crazy idea. The fact that there are discussions outside of Quebec, somewhere else in Canada, it could be a form of a wake-up call for the rest of Canada, and then people will start to think about it more seriously. He also pointed out that Quebec's sovereigntist movement has traditionally been a left-wing project. He hopes a push for independence led by conservatives or right-wing in Alberta might broaden its appeal in Quebec, so it could, you know, Alberta's separatism talks.
What are we going for this walk?
Could grow.
Am I muted?
Right.
Yes, you are.
Sorry. Alberta separatist talks could grow right wing.
Can we go for our walk now?
Right wing separatism.
Right wing.
What about the Shenta?
Walk now.
911.
So again, they're continuing to make fun of
Having a
me.
brain aneurysm.
The Parti Québécois has launched
At least she's not having a shisha.
two referendums on Quebec sovereignty in 1980 and 1995, and they lost both. St. Pierre Plamondon, whose party is leading in the polls, promises to hold a third referendum by 2030 if the PQ could form government in the next year's provincial election. So Quebec separatism could grow.
What was that word? Separation.
In recent years, support for sovereignty in Quebec has hovered at about 35%. This is what it is in Alberta. They have suspected that
You did that again.
what it is in, what did I do?
What is it?
What did I do?
Is it?
What did I do?
She says, what is it?
Airball.
What it is.
There you go.
We just go what?
33% or something like that that support leaving Canada. It's a very small number. Right here, 36%.
You know what the opposite of small is?
Massive, maybe?
Massive.
Massive.
You know this massive?
No!
The United States President Donald Trump's threats of tariff and annexation has pushed the Quebec sovereignty issue to the back burner in last month's federal election, and so they've pegged support for separation in Alberta at 36%. Still, Alapin, who I don't know who that is, questioned whether Albertans who say they support independence really want to leave, or they use it as a threat, as leverage. Here's another question.
That word works. Question.
Is this talk real or a strategy?
It's a factor. Yeah.
For Alberta? Is Alberta really talking separatism, or are they just using this as, you know, the bomb?
Probably that
So
one, 'cause you're putting
don't make the
words
bomb
on
go
it.
off. Start satisfying Alberta, or the bomb will go off, right? That's a threat. Smith has said she wants to compel the federal government to end policies that have long irritated her province, including demands for guaranteed oil and gas pipelines and their access to tidewater. She has a list of demands. She's, I don't know, have you guys seen her video? She released a video either last week or the week before.
The last video I seen was making noise.
Did you hear that, inmate from Fort Saskatchewan? They got a forged, like, release letter for her.
Oh,
And they let her in jail, and then found out a week or two later that she
Oh.
wasn't supposed to be let out.
I didn't hear anything about that. That's
Read about that.
crazy.
She's
What
on
did have gone
TikTok,
past?
So many videos.
she's on TikTok taunting the police. And stuff.
Really?
That's the side. Did you hear about the child rapist on the loose in Saskatoon? They let out a
No,
police sketch and everything.
Oh, yeah.
I did not.
Yeah.
He lured on that
He
highway.
lured like a
by-
6-year-old.
On that side of the, by Vanscoy, that's
Yes.
762, I think it is.
Okay,
They found him there as a 6-year-old kid.
what?
A 6-year-old kid?
And then there's a murder or two on the loose in Saskatoon. He killed 2 people or so, and they're looking for him.
I don't know what I'm missing. I'm not hearing any
Okay,
of
so
this
pretty much
news.
Saskatoon is becoming the purge.
The purge.
That's 2 people, like, much.
Yeah, but there's also been 2 homicides this long.
There have
weekend.
been a lot, I mean, it is in the major cities, there are.
Did you hear about that guy that was on mushrooms? And his roommate
Oh,
kept
yeah.
telling the cops, like, he's trying to kill me, he's trying to kill me, and they just forgot about it. And then he ended up killing him, and it was like brutal.
Really? Where is that?
Saskatoon.
My bedroom.
I did not hear
And then
about
I
any of
read-
this.
Domestic violence one. The guy had a restraining order, went over to his wife's house, she was 8 months pregnant and killed her.
Whoa. No, I haven't heard about any of that stuff.
Yeah,
Now I got
Pretty
I
fascinating.
alerted my phone saying, I forgot what it
because
was
of
with
Danny's.
a reservation.
Yeah.
There's a guy and this girl were like, apparently had a weapon in there.
I did get an alert, we got an alert on Friday, I think.
It was Friday.
They
Yeah.
sent it like 12 hours after it actually happened.
Oh,
Yeah, they're very slow with
Because they're good government. What do you expect?
Can we play heads up 7 up for the last
can we
5 minutes?
finish this? We can finish this article because you won't be able to do the work for this assignment today, but you'll do it
Are you here
on
tomorrow?
Thursday. I'm here tomorrow.
Are we here tomorrow?
I'm not. No, we're not.
If- I want you all here if you're not needed someplace else. That's the way I'll word that, okay? I'm just gonna keep going. Alberta wants a bigger place in Canada. We want to get out. First Nations in Alberta, meanwhile, and we talked about this, they have said there's no talk of Alberta leaving Canada because, hey, don't interrupt me. There's no talk of Alberta leaving Canada because as soon as Alberta wants out of that confederation, the land naturally goes back to treaty land initially. It's Indigenous land first before it's Canadian land. So they have denounced the recent talk of referendum, saying that the province has no authority to go above the treaties that are signed with the federal government. This is the priority. Treaties came first, provinces came second. Right? Their opposition means Alberta should think twice before going down a separation path. The former Quebec regional chief of Assembly of First Nations said. He pointed out that Quebec's Cree and Inuit had a referendum of their own, and they voted against separation. So even Indigenous people want Canada to remain intact. This guy, former Parti Québécois leader, said separatist movement in Alberta could heighten sovereigntist sentiment in Quebec, but not because of any common cause, because they don't have a common reason for wanting to leave. If Prime Minister Mark Carney offered Alberta an olive branch by supporting a new oil pipeline through Quebec, it could trigger a new referendum for Quebec and win protest. He said that she said she couldn't support an independence movement in Alberta because she believes its primary goal is protecting oil and gas sector and undoing environmental protections. So again, different reasons for wanting separation. Albertans think that they are losing out on billions of dollars, whereas Quebecers want to protect their identity within Canada. The idea that separatists in Alberta and separatists in Quebec are fighting different battles was summed up by Bloc Québécois leader. He said, the first idea is to define yourself as a nation. If Alberta wants to leave, what kind of nation would it be? Alberta would require its own culture, and I'm not certain that oil and gas is a definition of culture. That's a really interesting idea. Alberta has no separate culture. Right? It was a flippant remark, but Michael Wagner, an advocate for Alberta independence, said it's mostly true. He agrees Alberta is not a distinct nation, which Quebec is, and that Alberta's separatist movement is a more fragile as a result. Most Albertans, even the ones that support separation, they don't want it. He recalled speaking at a separatist meeting 3 years ago that opened with attendees singing the national anthem. I don't think that they would do that in Quebec. He said Carney has an opportunity to make nice with Alberta by repealing, meaning removing, some of the Liberal government's climate policies. He said it would be his first choice, even though it undermines the independence movie. I'm going to tell you guys what I think. I think that Carney, Prime Minister Mark Carney, I think that he is not really a Liberal.
I think that you're wrong.
He worked with the Conservative Party before under Stephen Harper.
I know, I just like thinking the opposite of you.
Okay, but take wherever Trudeau was as a Liberal, Carney has certainly moved towards the center. He is opening up resource trade between provinces. He stopped the carbon tax and is going to keep it low. Like, there are a bunch of things, remember Poilievre said last week, steal my ideas. It seems that Carney is stealing Pierre Poilievre's ideas, is what Poilievre is claiming anyway. Mark Carney, remember we said that Conservative leaders, if they really wanted to win votes, they would move more to the center where more voters are. I think that's what Carney did to win leadership of the Liberal Party, and win the federal election. He moved more to the center to pull in more Conservative voters. He is certainly more conservative than the last one was, so yeah.
See you later, Miss Wagner.
Goodbye.
Do I gotta work on the